Well, it's nice to arrive at the Hobbiton movie set area on such a nice day. And before we get onto the movie set, let me just give you the scene here. Isn't that nice? What's to say? What's to say? Even got, and we're going to be getting the Hobbiton movie set tour. This is where they filmed the movie A Hobbit. Anyway, the story was when they were going to tear down the set, the contractors experienced some terrible weather for months on end, and then when it was all said and done, they decided, let's not tear it down. Let's make a tourist attraction. We got so many fanboys, fangirls of the movies, etc., and all that kind of stuff there. I bet we could make money off of the tours.
They're the lucky family that were approached by Peter Jackson, of course the director of the films, and the film companies to come out here and build and film Hobbiton. Now you can just look out the right hand side, you see the little farm cottage in the trees. That is where Craig Alexander lives. So he is the older brother, and he is in charge of the farming sides of things. So as you can see, still a working farm. And then Russell Alexander is the younger brother, and he's my boss. So he's in charge of the tourism sides of things. But it's actually, you can see plenty of white fluffy dots around the place. So yes, those are sheep, and there's about 12,000 of them on this farm. So a fair few running around, and anywhere you see a sheep, that is the Alexander's farm, because they're one of the last remaining sheep farms in this area. Now there's also about 300 or so Black Angus cattle, and they're used for their hides to make leather and suede, and then the wool from the sheep is a bit too coarse to turn into clothing, so they actually turn it into carpet. It's the Romney breed of sheep. And then the cattle's meat is sold to a very prestigious restaurant you should be familiar with called McDonald's. That's actually where the meat goes. But have a look out the right hand side now. That right there, that site is almost a hint at why they chose Hobbiton, or chose this location for Hobbiton anyway. So the beautiful rolling green hills, all the scattered trees around the place, and pretty much untouched landscape. So they didn't have to Photoshop or edit any buildings or anything like that out of the right side. Just ignore the digger. But over the way you can see the thatched roof mill house. You can see some hobbits on the little bridge there, and then the Green Dragon pub is that big building on the right hand side. And keep this in mind, I am your ticket for the free drink at the pub. Just keep it in mind. If you want a drink, you need me. So, very important.
Well, we're outside one of the Hobbit hovels here, looking at their garden, enjoying things. Kind of cool down here in the shade, nice and green. They had a bit of rain since the summer ended a few weeks ago. Part of our tour is going to involve going up on this high ground up there. You may be able to make out the other tourists and so forth. Here's a good scene up there. Some more Hobbit dwellings. Hey, when you come down here, if you want, you can recreate one of the scenes from the Hobbit movies, one of the first movies there, where apparently Bilbo has something. These are some of the other folks on our tour here, and our tour guide taking some photos. Anyway, if you want, you can run down here and go out the distance and recreate a scene from the Hobbit movie. I understand it's Bilbo has some line there when he runs down this path here and disappears. So that's movie magic for you. So take a look. All us tourists here looking at the where it all happened. Hey, thanks for watching.
I don't know.
What's by the door?
Garlic. Then that scare away something. Oh, look at the dead
Yeah,
fish.
vampires.
Okay.
What?
The dead fish right there.
Oh, yeah. Oops, wrong button.
Behind us, this spot, it's called the Dell. Now the Dell is almost laid out like a wee community within Hobbiton itself. So you can look over there, you'll see 7 hobbit holes that are tucked into the hillside, another veggie garden, a little frog pond, and then where that other group is a wood supply for the winter. So a lot of detail in this whole area, but for all the detail in this spot, doesn't really get in the movies that much, so it gets in the films for a staggering 3 seconds. And that's in the extended edition of the first Lord of the Rings film. It beats it in The Hobbit, so in the Hobbit movie you see it for about 5 seconds. So again, when Bilbo is running down the hill, you can see the pond just for a tiny little moment, but other than that, you don't really see it. They still built it though, because in the books it somewhat described this place existing. So it might have talked about the frog pond or the wood supply, some detail that they could use and run off that. So the whole object of this place was trying to build the whole village of Hobbiton as much as possible, even if they didn't really use it much. So it's pretty common practice in most films for things to be built, filmed, but you just never see them. So during editing, things get taken out, new scenes are in, and you never actually see the full picture.
Oh, does this look familiar at all?
Yeah.
You're on the Hobbit movie set. All this was set up for the Hobbit movies that Peter Jackson made during the 20-aughts. Original construction started back, I think he said, in 98, 99. This is a working farm. You can see part of the work going on there in the background. And of course all the sheep. I understand there's some 12,000 sheep here on this movie set. And the 2 brothers run the farm. One runs the farm and the other runs the operations associated with all the tours on the movie set.
If you just look up top, you can see this tree on top of Bilbo's house, the oak tree. Pay attention to the leaves up there. They're very bright, very green leaves. And that's because all those leaves are actually artificial.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, they're all fake.
Oh, wow.
And they're all wired onto a fully fake tree.
That's a fake tree?
Yeah, so everything about that tree is artificial.
Are you serious?
It's made from a steel framing inside. There is expandable foam around that, and then silicon around the outside, which is molded to look like oak tree bark. Now the reason they did this one is because, again, in the stories it said there was an oak tree on top of Bilbo's house. So what did they do? They just built one. They built an oak tree and put it up the top there. Sad to say. They brought in their own sheep with black faces and black feet.
Oh my God. They did?
Yeah, they brought in about 30 Suffolk sheep. They're commonly known in England because this is the most English kind of feel for a movie set in The Lord of the Rings. They wanted everything right, so we just called them the stunt sheep. It was easier to call them that. But literally they'd get our sheep and they'd hide them behind the hills out of the cameras, and then they'd go put these movie stars out in the scene. They're a bit angry.
Feelings hurt.
Yeah, don't mention Peter Jackson. But
well, we're pretty much at the end of the tour. Behind me we've got the music and the hospitality of the Green Dragon Inn. When you come here with your tour guide, the tour guide buys the drinks, adult beverages or non-alcoholic. But this is the view from the front of the Green Dragon here at the Hobbit movie set. Oh, and then the bridge that I think was featured in a scene or two and one or more of the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit movies. And we'll cruise around here. There we go. Here's a good look at the Green Dragon. And let's walk inside the Green Dragon and see what they got to see here. Okay. Y'all welcome to come. Great tour. I would recommend trying to come here when the grass is green and cool weather, because in the hot summer months and so forth it can be quite intimidating coming out here on the Hobbit movie set. So nice and cool and dark in here. Got a fireplace. I'm sure you'll get more information online when you check out the Hobbit movie set in this part of New Zealand. Today the tour was wonderful because it was nice cool weather. It is not for those that are particularly frail or infirm or difficulty walking, not handicapped accessible on the dirt trails and so forth. There's a bit of elevation, so if you might have a problem with that, then you might want to skip the Hobbit tour, because it is for folks, you don't have to be athletic, comfortable walking shoes and that sort of stuff, but a couple of folks were walking with canes and they had some difficulty negotiating some of the trails and low-hanging branches and that sort of thing. So thanks for watching our tour here of the Hobbit movie set.